Okay, this is Andy again with Libertarian Revolution, back with Roger Pope. The camera battery died, and so now we're just finishing up the interview here. Had to plug it back in. And anyway, we were talking about your petitioning arrest in Arkansas. I was also arrested in Arkansas for petitioning, and I was arrested at Arkansas State University in Jonesboro. And I had petitioned there, actually, first time I petitioned there was in 2011, and they never said anything to me. Had no problems, was there for a week. There was another petitioner with me. We got over 1,000 signatures, had no problems. Went back in 2013, and they said that I had to stand in a free speech zone, which cut me off from talking to most of the people on the campus. And I contacted the ACLU. The ACLU is usually too busy to do anything, but they actually contacted the university, told them I had a right to be there, and unfortunately the university refused to back down and continued to insist I had to stand on this free speech zone. Anyway, I went back in 2015, and this time I wasn't told to stand in a free speech zone. I was told I couldn't be anywhere on the campus. And they wrote me out a trespass citation. And I told them, okay, I'll leave, but I intend to show this trespass citation to an attorney. And, you know, if the attorney agrees that it's an illegal trespass citation, I may return to the campus at a future date to collect signatures. And after that, they wouldn't let me leave, and they grabbed me without warning and put me in jail. So anyway, I'm sure you've had other experiences like this as a petitioner. I know you told me a pretty funny story about something that happened to you in Chicago on the subway.
On the subway.
Oh, yeah. You want to tell that one real quick?
Yeah, they were kicking me off the.
You were doing Libertarian Party, right?
I was doing the Libertarian.
Do you remember what year that was?
2000.
Probably like 2008.
About 2008,
okay.
I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, and I called up the Libertarian Party with this, but that was after one of the police for the subway said that I wasn't allowed to petition. And I had just, the night before, I had watched on TV, what was the guy's name? The wrestler.
Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura.
Now, just for our listeners at home, Jesse Ventura has never been a member of the Libertarian Party.
No.
He was in Ross Perot's Reform Party, and I think in Minnesota, the Reform Party may have been affiliated with the Independence Party of Minnesota, and then they ended up leaving the Reform Party in 2000. So Jesse got elected governor of Minnesota in 1998, and then 2000 they broke off from the Reform Party. Now Jesse Ventura does have some views that would be libertarian, but he's not. I would call him kind of a centrist libertarian, or a libertarian-leaning centrist. You know, there's a lot of things I like about him though. And, you know, but anyway, just for our list, I just don't want people to be confused and think that Jesse Ventura was a member of the Libertarian Party. But anyway, back to your story. So you said something about Jesse Ventura in relation to this subway story. He was on TV like the night before?
The night before.
The night before you got... And you were being hassled by the subway police or the subway security guards?
You don't have a right to be here. Mm-hmm. And I said, yes, I do. And I said, well, Jesse Ventura was just on TV, and he said he had a right to be here. You know, and I just watched. Did anybody see that last night? Mm-hmm. Well, they called up this SWAT team. These guys came down, big guys. I must have only come up to about here on these guys. Mm-hmm. They were just huge with their big helmets and flapjacks. You know, they look like they're ready for combat.
They were ready for combat,
and. They were wearing all this equipment and everything, and I thought, oh God, they're going to pound me into the ground because
because of a guy asking people to sign a state-mandated ballot access petition in order for Libertarian Party candidates to be on the ballot to give the voters another choice, and they call in a SWAT team.
Right.
Talk about overreaction and violating our constitutionally enumerated rights.
Right, and I looked at these guys and I said, didn't you see Jesse Ventura on TV last night? Now, he was talking to, I'm trying to remember who he was talking to. It was a talk show host. One of the, Larry King.
Larry King Live, okay.
It was on
Must
Larry
have been
King
CNN,
Live.
yeah, okay.
And,
okay.
Yeah, and Larry King said something about, well, those third-party candidates, they don't really have a right to be on the ballot anyway, or something like that.
Or no chance to win.
Or they have no chance to win, and all kinds of things. And so he stood up and looked down at Larry King, and he said, listen, I fought for this country, you know. I was a Navy SEAL, you know, I did all this other stuff. And I believe in my country, and I believe in the Constitution of the United States.
And he got elected governor of Minnesota.
And I got elected
as a third-party candidate.
Oh yeah, and he said,
mayor of Brooklyn Park.
That's what he said was
Brooklyn Park mayor.
Third-party candidates and independent candidates will never get elected anyway. So why do you care? And he said, I was governor of Minnesota, you know, and I fought for my country, and I believe in my country, and you know, and then all of a sudden, the four big guys that were standing over me, I thought they were going to pound me into the ground. Instead of doing that, they said, "Okay, well, guess what? I like Jesse Ventura, and you know what? I was a Navy SEAL myself, and so was he, and so was he." And these big guys were standing there, and then they looked at the cop who had called them, and he said, "You're wasting our time." And they kind of pushed the guys with his big fingers into the pylon in the downstairs, and he said, "This man has a right to be here, and I want you to." And then he looked at me and he said, "What is that you're handing out?" And I said, "Well, this is all about the Constitution and our right to be here." All right. And so then when he did that, he said, "Well, I want you to pin these on every subway station in the city of Chicago.
Wow.
This man has a right to be here." And he pushed the guy into the wall and he said, "Do you understand that? And don't call us down here again, or I will break heads, and it won't be his, it will be yours."
Well, you know something? That's really great that the police actually stood up for your right
on that occasion. They
took
sides with me.
And that actually does happen once in a while. Every once in a while,
like
the police do back up your rights. But unfortunate reality is that most of the time they don't. And now here's something really funny. This happened to you on the Chicago subway system in 2008. Well, I happen to know that by 2014, a mutual libertarian petitioner friend of ours was petitioning for the Libertarian Party on the same subway system you were in Chicago. They call it the CTA, Chicago Transit Authority, and he was run out under the threat of arrest. So, you know, you had your temporary victory there, and that was nice maybe for that day or that petition drive.
For a while it
unfortunately,
was. I heard other people say that they went back down.
Unfortunately, it didn't last, though, because they went back to their old ways of suppressing free speech.
Yeah.
But anyway, now as you know, this is just unfortunate that a lot of people don't realize what you go through.
Another thing happened when I got on the train to go home. There was a whole bunch of people who had signed my petition who gave me a standing ovation.
Oh yeah, that happens every once in a while. Also,
and the people in the station did when they heard the four SWAT team guys take sides with me.
It's too bad those cops you didn't have. It's too bad you didn't have cops like that present when you got arrested in Arkansas. But what was really funny about that situation, though, is that the guy in Arkansas knew that the charges had been thrown out against you, but yet 2 months later, I was in Arkansas, and he pulled the same thing on me.
Right.
So he was just completely dishonest.
That happened to you too.
Yeah. Now I didn't get arrested in Arkansas at the DMV or the Arkansas Revenue because I just left because I didn't feel like going through another arrest situation like what happened to me in Jonesboro. But it just shows you how dishonest these people can be. That they knew that the charges had been thrown out against you. They obviously had no case against you, but yet they're and in fact I'll tell you what, in Arkansas at the DMV, which is known as Arkansas Revenue, they're pulling the same thing to this day, and that is suppressing our right to free speech.
That I was working for, I'm not going to say who they are. Okay, they backed me up. The problem with you is you were afraid that the Libertarian Party wouldn't back you up, and that might not have happened. They might not have backed you up.
Yeah, you're right, but unfortunately, the Arkansas Revenue is still doing that. From what I've heard, they're still running people out. But anyway, Roger, it's been really great talking to you.
We do need to do a lawsuit against them.
Oh yeah, you're right. We definitely need to start standing up. And there's a libertarian up in Connecticut by the name of Dan Reel, and him and some other volunteers in Connecticut for the Libertarian Party were collecting signatures at a public festival in a public park in the town of Meriden. and the police told them they couldn't be there, and they didn't take it lying down like libertarians and other groups usually do. They filed a lawsuit because Dan Reel is a paralegal, and so he knew what to do to file a lawsuit, and they found out, by the way, that the mayor actually ordered the police to run them out of this public park where a public festival is going on. Anyway, they filed a lawsuit and they won a $37,000 settlement. And so for too many years, libertarians and other groups who've been doing petition drives have been getting kicked around and run out of locations, and the general public doesn't really know much about this. They don't know how hard it is to do these
And the petition
petitions.
companies don't pay for lawyers.
Yeah, most of the time, most of them, they don't care. Most of the time, the people in the parties, like the Libertarian Party, they don't usually do anything. And it really makes ballot access a lot more difficult. So we're really glad that we have, people like ballot access warriors like yourself who are going out and doing this important work, petitioning the government for a redress of grievances, getting the message out, and giving the public another choice on the ballot, especially a choice that is pro-freedom. Anyway, thank you very much, Roger.
Yeah, we do need more petition
do you have any
companies as well.
closing statements you'd like to make before we
I believe that more petition companies and political parties, that
proponents
proponents of anything,
should be standing up and fighting for our rights for free speech,
for the rights of the petitioners that are working for them.
And really, in this day and age, the cost of body cameras has come down, and really, when you're working, I think kind of everybody who's doing a petition in this country should probably wear a body camera.
And people who are running petition drives should give each person one to
Yeah,
wear.
and if you look at what Dan Reel just did in Connecticut, they won $37,000, and we've had situations happen where petitioners have gone to jail. They didn't even get arrested; they just got told they couldn't be there.
Right.
So anyway, it's time for the people who want to do petitions to get candidates or a party or an initiative, ballot initiatives, referendums, recalls, or even just petitions, which they frequently call plebiscites, which are just to bring attention to an issue and urge government officials to take certain actions. We should be fighting this stuff, filing lawsuits, because when they trample on our petition rights, they're basically saying that we should be in a dictatorship and do whatever the politicians and bureaucrats tell us to.
Also, only 26 states allow
Initiative and referendum. I think it's actually 24.
Initiative
24.
referendums at the state level.
Yeah, there are other states that have it at the local level, but not at the statewide level. But anyway, thank you very much, Roger, for your time and all your many years of dedicated activism. And we need more libertarians like Roger Pope. Thank you very much, Roger.
Okay, and I will give you absolution, even though I'm not really the Pope.
Well, this Pope ain't Catholic, but he sure is a libertarian. All right. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.